Hello, my name is Lo Sontag, and this is Civil Democracy and the U.S. Constitution. Remember how I said that the Constitution was really small? Not small, but it was short. Well, today I'm going to read the Constitution because because I want you to believe me. I want you to know, like, oh, I could read this, and it's not that long. It's very simple to read. Sometimes the explanations are actually more complicated than the actual document itself. So with that, I'm going to start. I'm going to start with the preamble, which I have memorized, but I'm just going to read it, just in case I mess up. I want to make sure you have the exact words. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. So, Article 1, Section 1, Congress. All legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and House of Representatives. Section 2, House of Representatives. The House of Representatives shall be composed of members every second year by the people of the several states, and the electors in each state shall have qualifications requisite for electors of the most numerous branch of the state legislature. No person shall be a representative who shall have not attained the age of 25 years old and been 7 years a citizen of the United States, and who shall not, when elected, be an inhabitant of the state which he shall be chosen. Okay. Representatives and direct taxes shall be apportioned among the several states which may be included within this union, according to their respective numbers, which shall be determined by adding the whole numbers of free persons, including those bound to service for a term of years, and excluding Indians not taxed, 3/5 of all persons. The actual enumeration shall be made within 3 years after the first meeting of Congress of the United States, and with every subsequent term of 10 years, in such manner as they shall be by law direct. The numbers of representatives shall not exceed 1 for every 30,000, but each state shall have at least 1 representative. And until such enumeration shall be made, the state of New Hampshire shall be entitled to choose 3, Massachusetts 8, Rhode Island and Providence Plantations 1, Connecticut 5, New York 6, New Jersey 4, Pennsylvania 8, Delaware 1, Maryland 6, Virginia 10, North Carolina 5, South Carolina 5, Georgia 3. When vacancies happen in the representative of any state, the executive authority shall issue writs of election to fill such vacancies. The House of Representatives shall choose their speaker and other officers and shall have the sole power of impeachment. Section 3, the Senate. The Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state, chosen by the legislature thereof for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. Immediately after, they shall be assembled in consequence of the first election. They shall be divided as equally as may be into 3 clauses. The seats of the senators of the first class shall be vacated at the expiration of the second year, the second class at the expiration of the 4th year, and the third class at the expiration of the 6th year, so that 1/3 may be chosen every second year. And if vacancies happen by resignation or otherwise during the recess of legislature of any state, the executive thereof may make temporary appointments until the next meeting of the legislature, which shall fill such vacancies. No person shall be a senator who shall not have attained the age of 35 years old and been 9 years a citizen of the United States, and who shall not, when elected, be an inhabitant of that state for which he shall be chosen. The Vice President of the United States shall be President of the Senate, but shall have no vote unless they be equally divided. That's a tie. The Senate shall choose their other officers and also a president pro temp in the absence of a vice president or when he shall exercise the office of president of the United States. The Senate shall have the sole power to try all impeachments. When sitting for that purpose, they shall be an oath or affirmation. When the president of the United States is tried, the chief justice shall preside, and no person shall be convicted without the concurrence of 2/3 of the members present. Judgment in case of impeachment shall not extend further than to the removal from office and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. But the party convicted shall nevertheless be liable and subject to indictment, trial, judgment, and punishment according to law. Section 4, elections. Times, place, and manners of holding election for senators, representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof, but Congress may at any time by law make or alter such regulations except as to the place of choosing senators. The Congress shall assemble at least once in every year, and such meeting shall be on the first Monday in December, unless they shall by law appoint a different day. Section 5, powers and duties of Congress. Each house shall be judge of the elections, returns, and qualifications of its own members, and a majority of each shall constitute a quorum to do business. But a smaller number may adjourn from day to day and may be authorized to compel the attendance of absent members. In such manner, and under the penalties as each house may provide. Each house may determine the rules of its proceedings, punish its members for disorderly behavior, and with the concurrence of 2/3 expel a member. Each house shall keep a journal of its proceedings, and from time to time publish the same, excepting such parts as may in their judgment require secrecy. And the yeas and nays of the members of each house on any question shall, at the desire of 1/5 of those present, be entered on the journal. Neither house during the session of Congress shall, without the consent of others, adjourn for more than 3 days, nor to any other place that in which the two houses shall be sitting. Section 6, rights and disabilities of members. The senators and representatives shall receive a compensation for their service to be ascertained by law and paid out by the Treasury of the United States. They shall in all cases except treason, felony, and breach of peace be privileged from arrest under the attendance of the session of the respective houses, and in going to and returning from the same, and for any speech or debate in either house. They shall not be questioned in any other place. No senators or representatives shall, during the time for which he was elected, be appointed to any civil office under the authority of the United States, which shall have been created, or the emolument, whereas shall have been increased during such time. And no person holding any office under the United States shall be a member of either house during his continuance in office. Section 7, legislative process. All bills for raising revenue shall originate in the House of Representatives, but the Senate may propose or concur with amendments as on other bills. Every bill which shall have passed the House of Representatives and the Senate shall before it become a law, be presented to the President of the United States. If he approves it, if he approve, he shall sign, but if he shall not, return it with his objections to that house in which it shall have originated, who shall be reconsidered with 2/3 of that house shall agree to pass the bill. It shall be sent together with the objections to the house, by which shall likewise be reconsidered, and if approved by, let's see here, 2/3 of that house, it shall become a law. But in all cases, the votes of both houses shall be entered on the journal of each house respectively. If any bill shall be returned by the president within 10 days, Sundays excepted, after it shall been presented to him, the same shall be a law. in like manner as he had signed it, unless Congress by their adjournment prevent its return, in which it shall not be a law. Every order, resolution, or vote to which the concurrence of the Senate and House of Representatives may be necessary, except on a question of adjournment, shall be presented to the President of the United States, and before the same shall take effect, shall be approved by him or being disapproved by him, shall be repassed by 2/3 of the Senate and House of Representatives, according to the rules and limitations prescribed by the case of a bill. Section 8, power of Congress. The Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, excises, to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States. But all duties, imposts, excises shall be uniform throughout the United States. To borrow money on the credit of the United States, to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and with the Indian tribes, to establish a uniform rule of naturalization and uniform laws on the subject of bankruptcies throughout the United States, to coin money, regulate the value thereof and of foreign coin, and fix the standards of weights and measures, to provide for the punishment of counterfeiting the securities and current coins of the United States, to establish post office and post roads, to promote of science and useful arts by securing for limited times to authors and inventors the exclusive right to their respective writing and discoveries, to constitute tribunals inferior to the Supreme Court, to define and punish piracies and felonies committed on the high seas and offenses against the laws of nations, to declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and to make rules concerning captures on land and water, to raise and support armies, but no appropriations of money to that use shall be for a longer term than 2 years, to provide and maintain a navy, to make rules for the government and regulations of the law and naval forces, to provide for a calling for the militia to execute the laws of the Union, to suppress insurrections and to repel invasions, to provide for organizations and displacing the militia and for the governing such part of them as may be employed in the service of the United States, reserving to the states respectively the appointment of the officers and the authority of training the militia according to the discipline prescribed by Congress, to excise exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever over such districts not exceeding 10 miles square as may by session of particular state and the acceptance of Congress become the seat of government of the United States, and to exercise like authority over all places purchased by the consent of the legislature of the state in which the same shall be for the erections of forts, magazines, arsenals, dockyards, and the needful buildings, and to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers and all other powers vested by the Constitution in the government of the United States in any department or officers thereof. Section 9. Powers denied Congress the migration or importance of such persons as any of the states now existing shall think proper to admit shall not be prohibited by Congress prior to the years 1000, actually it's 1808. But a tax or duty may be imposed on such importations not exceeding $10 for each person. The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when in cases of rebellion or invasions of the public safety may require it. No bills of attainder or ex post facto law shall be passed. No capitulation or direct tax shall be laid unless in proportion to the census enumeration herein before directed to be taken. No tax or duty shall be laid on articles exported from any state. No preference shall be given by any regulation of commerce or revenue to the ports of one state over those of another, nor shall vessels bound to from one state be obliged to enter, clear, or pay duties in another. No money shall be drawn from the treasuries, but consequences of appropriations made by law and a regular statement and account of receipts and expenditures of all public money shall be public from time to time. No title of nobility shall be granted by the United States, and no person holding any office of profit or trust under them shall, without the consent of Congress, accept of any present annulment, office, title of any kind whatsoever from any king, prince, or foreign state. Section 10, powers denied to the states. No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, cone money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payments of debt, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto laws or laws impairing the obligations to contract or titles, or grant any title or nobility. No state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any impost or duties or imports or exports, except what may be absolutely necessary for executing its inspection laws and the net produce of all duties and imposts laid by a state or imports or exports, shall be for use of the Treasury of the United States, and all such laws shall be subject of the revision and control of the Congress. No state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any duty of tonnage, keep troops or ships of war in time or peace, enter into any agreement or compact with another state, as a country, or with foreign, or another state, or with foreign power, or engage in war, unless actually invaded or in such imminent danger as will not admit of delay. See Article 2, Section 1. The executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States of America. He shall hold his office during the term of 4 years, and together with the vice president chosen for the same term, be elected as following. Each state shall appoint in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct a number of electors equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state shall be admitted in the Congress. And no senator or representative or person holding an office of trust or profit under the United States shall be appointed as an elector. The electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for 2 persons, of whom one at least shall be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves, and shall make a list of the persons voted for, and the number of votes for each, which list they shall sign and certify, and transmit sealed to the seat of government of the United States, directed to the President of the Senate. The President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and the House, having the greatest number of votes, shall be the President. If such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if there be one more than one, have such a majority, and the ballot one of them for president, and if no person has a majority, then from 5 highest on the list, the House shall in like manner choose a president. But in choosing the president, the votes shall be taken by states, the representatives from each state having 1 vote. A quorum for this purpose shall be consisting of members from 2/3 of the state, and the majority of all persons having the greatest number of votes of the electors shall be the vice president. But if there should be remain 2 or more who have equal votes, the Senate shall choose them from them by ballot, the vice president. The Congress may determine the time of choosing the electors and the day on which shall given their votes, which day shall be the same throughout the United States. No person except a natural born citizen or a citizen of the United States at the time of the adoption of this Constitution shall be eligible to the office of president. Neither shall any person be eligible to the office who shall not have attained to the age of 35 years of age and been 14 years a resident within the United States. In the case of removal of president from office, or of death or resignation or inability to discharge the powers of duty of said office, the same shall dissolve on the vice president, and Congress may by law provide the case of removal, death, resignation, or inability both of the president and vice president, declaring what officer shall then act as president, and such officer shall act accordingly until the disability be removed or a president shall be elected. The president shall at stated times receive for his service a compensation which shall neither be increased nor diminished during the period for which he shall have been elected. And he shall not receive within the period any other emoluments from the United States or any of them. Before he enter the execution of office, he shall take the oath of an affirmation. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve and protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. Section 2. The President shall be Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy of the United States and the militias of the several states. When called into actual service of the United States, he may be required the opinion in writing of the principal officer in each of the executive departments upon any subject relating to the duties of the respective offices, and she shall have power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. He shall have power by and with advice and consent of the Senate to make treaties, provide 2/3 of the senators provided 2/3 of senators are present and concur, and he shall nominate by and with the advice and consent of the Senate, shall appoint ambassadors, other ministers, consuls, judges of the Supreme Court, and all other officers of the United States whose appointments are not herein the apportionment of such inferior offices, they are not herein otherwise provided for, and which shall be established by law. But Congress may, by law, vest the appointment of such inferior officers as they think proper, in the President alone, in the course of law, or in the heads of department. The President shall have the power to fill up all vacancies that happen during the recess of the Senate by granting commissions which shall expire at the end of the next session. Section 3. He shall from time to time give to Congress information of the state of the Union and recommend to their considerations what measures as he shall judge necessary and expedient. He may on extraordinary occasions convene both House or either of them, and in cases of disagreement between them with respect to the time of adjournment, he may adjourn them to such time as he shall think proper. He shall receive ambassadors and receive public ministers. He shall take care and the laws be faithfully executed, and shall commission all the officers of the United States. Section 4. The President, Vice President, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for the conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Article 3, Section 1. The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish, the judges both of the Supreme and inferior courts shall hold their offices during good behavior, and shall at stated times receive for their service a compensation which shall not be diminished during their continuance in office. Section 2. The judicial power shall extend to all cases in laws and equity arising under the Constitution, the laws of the United States, the treaties made of which shall be made under their authority, to all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, counsels, to all cases, admiralty, and maritime jurisdiction, to controversies to which the United States shall be party to, controversies between two or more states, between a state and a citizen or another state, between citizens of different states, between citizens of the state claiming lands under grants of different states, and between states or the citizens thereof and foreign states, citizens or subjects. Wow. In all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, counsels, and those in which a state shall be party, the Supreme Court shall have jurisdiction, both as to law and fact, which such exceptions, and under such regulations as the Congress shall make. The trials of all crimes, except for the case of impeachment, shall be jury, and such trial by jury, and such trial shall be held in the state where said crimes have been committed, but not committed within any state. The trial shall be at such places or places as the Congress may by law have directed. Section 3, treason. against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. No person shall be convicted of treason unless on testimony of two witnesses to the same overt act in open court or confession. Congress shall have power to declare the punishment of treason with no attainder of treason, and shall work corruption of blood or forfeiture except during the life of the person attainted. Article 4, Section 1. Full faith and credit shall be given in each state to the public acts, records, and judicial proceedings of every state. And Congress shall be made by general laws prescribe the manner in which such acts, recordings, records, and proceedings shall be provided and the effects thereof. Section 2. The citizen of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of citizens in the several states. A person charged in any state with treason, felony, or other crimes who shall flee from the justice and be found in another state shall, on demand of the executive authority of the state from which he fled, be delivered up to be removed to the state having jurisdiction of the crime. No person held to the service of labor in one state under the laws thereof, escaping into another, shall, in consequence of any law or regulation therein, be charged from such service or labor, but shall be delivered up on the claim of the party to whom such service or labor may be due. Section 3. New states may be admitted by the Congress into the Union, but no new state shall be formed or erected within the jurisdiction of another state, nor any state be formed by the junction or two or more states or parts of states without the consent of legislature of the states concerned, as well as other members of Congress. Congress shall have power to dispose and of or make all needful rules and regulations respecting the territory of all property belonging to the United States, and nothing in this Constitution shall be so construed as to prejudice any claims of the United States or of any particular state. Section 4, the United States shall guarantee to every state in the Union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion and on the application of legislature or to the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence. Article 5, the Congress shall, whenever 2/3 of their houses shall deem it necessary, shall propose amendments to the Constitution or to the application of the legislature of 2/3 of several states, shall call a convention for proposing amendments, which in either case shall be valid to all intents and purposes as parts of this Constitution when ratified by legislature of 3/4 of several states or by convention in 3/4 thereof as of one of the other mode of ratification may be proposed by Congress, provided that no amendment which may be made prior to the year 1808, that's 1808, shall be in any manner affect the first and fourth clauses in the 9th section of the first article, and no state without its consent shall be deprived of its equal suffrage in the Senate. Article 6, all debts contracted and engagement entered into under the adoption of this Constitution shall be as valid against the United States under the Constitution as under the Confederation. This Constitution and the laws of the United States shall be made in pursuance thereof of all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, and shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby any things in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. The senators and representatives before mentioned and the members of the several state legislatures and of executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and of the several states, shall be bound by oath of affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. Article 7, the final one, the ratification of the conventions of 9 states shall be sufficient for the establishment of the Constitution between the states, so ratifying the same. All right, so now you can't say that you haven't read the Constitution. Well, I read it for you. So now you have the Constitution. It wasn't that long. It didn't even take that long. And it was pretty easy to understand. You're probably like, wow, that was really easy. Yes, it was very easy. So right now, I would say take some time, read the Constitution on your own. It's only 15 pages. I think it only took me like 20 minutes to read that. So again, this is Lo Sontag. This is Civil Democracy and the U.S. Constitution, and have a great evening.